Mark Pope's press conference was yesterday. Talked about a lot of things. Defense, we're going to talk a lot about that. What's going on with Yelovich? We're going to talk about that. Great comparisons for Hawthorne to a former Kentucky legend. We'll talk about the rev share. There is a lot for us to break down on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, publisher over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined as always by Carson Nash. And Carson, this is going to be a fun one today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I'm really excited. There's a lot of news. And, during the summertime, there's not a lot of news. So this is going to be a good one.
This is the most looking forward to doing one I've been since the season. It feels like we got a game. There's been so much stuff going on. But hey, last episode we gained a lot. Last episode, not the press conference yesterday, but the last podcast from between Carson and I, we gained a lot of subscribers. So please keep hitting that button. We really appreciate that. I mean, hey, it's one click of a button. It would really help us out. If you're not already subscribed, we would really, really appreciate that. We're inching closer and closer to 3,000. So keep hitting that button.
And if you like us, tell a friend.
Yeah, tell a friend. That stuff helps too. That really does. But Carson, I think the first thing to start with this press conference from yesterday, and like I just said, I posted it yesterday as a podcast. So if you want to pause us, go listen to the press conference and come back and hear us break it down if you want to hear what Pope had to say before we break it down. So that is yesterday's. I put it up as a video, so it's there if y'all haven't seen that already. But Carson, the big takeaway for me was what Coach Pope had to say about the defense. And he talked about how people were asking questions like, Mark, the defense is great. It sounds like it's great. All of your players are talking up this defense and how good it's going to be. What's the upside of this? You know what I mean? Just asking him questions. What's the upside of this defense? He talked about it could be really good, but we've got a ways to go. And I think that freaked some people out yesterday in that press room when he said that, Carson. When you heard him say this defense has a ways to go, what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of coach speak, to get your team fired up, because you can't always tell them it's sunshine and rainbows everywhere. Yeah. And two, I think partly they may be struggling because of communication and chemistry right now. They haven't been able to do it as a team for a very long time. So, that will come as long as the players, as they get more comfortable with each other and communicate. And it's all about team chemistry on defense. And we saw last year our team started off pretty horrible at defense, and it continuously got better. So I think that'll come with more reps and more time.
I agree. Last year, we didn't have the athletes that we have this season. Defense, to me, I'm going to be honest with you, it is effort and athleticism. Those two things are defense. If you're an athlete and you put a lot of effort on that into the floor, you can be an elite defensive player. Last year, we just didn't have the athletes to be an elite defensive team. But you're right, Carson, as we slowly got deeper into that season, our defense got better and better and better. And it's funny, Coach Pope talked about the Ole Miss game being the turning point for the defense, which is funny because that's when he broke a ton of stuff in the locker room. Which I broke a lot of stuff at Drake's watching that game. That was the Georgia game we were at Drake's, but still, the Ole Miss game was annoying, very rough, painful one. It was over in the first 10 minutes, it felt like, and it was never fun. But what you said, Carson, about the coach speak, I mean, maybe the defense is great right now, but Coach Pope doesn't want to tell his players that. I mean, I want my players to think that they're terrible defensively, and they've got to keep getting better and fighting to get better every single day, because if they're great, they can get even better than they already are. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I think two things can be true within this conversation. I think that the defense maybe isn't the elite force that we all want it to be right now, but it's better than Coach Pope made it out to sound yesterday. I think those two things are true.
And I mean, you got to factor in the fact that, I mean, you don't have one of the best defenders in college basketball playing for you right now, Jaden Quaintons. And then Colin Chandler's a little banged up, and Yelovich hasn't gotten on campus yet. So you're adding three key defensive players later down the line.
Exactly. So, I mean, that plays a role in it. But Coach Pope talked about how the first quarter of the La Familia scrimmage, we gave up 1.8 points per possession, which, is not ideal in any way to break it down. But I mean, and you and I talked about this on the phone earlier today, Carson. Like, I don't think that was the first time they played other people. I think it got better throughout that game. Coach Pope talked about that. It got better. It was the first quarter. Like, it was the first time they played other people. I'm not upset about the defense struggling for the first quarter against La Familia.
Not to mention the Harrison twins, Archie Goodwin. I mean, these guys are some talented guards, and you don't have the shot blocking that you will have in the future.
Exactly. It's going to be tough to get down low when you got Quaintance and Yelovich down there blocking shots and sending them back in your face. It's just not going to be as easy to do that. So I've seen some people, I don't know if I'd want to say freaking out about the defense. I think people are doing a good job not overreacting, which is a bit surprising. But people aren't overreacting to this, and I don't think they should. I think that there's a lot that goes into it. I think, like you said, we're missing Quaintance. I think Coach Pope is over-exaggerating it to keep his players humble and working hard. He doesn't want his players thinking they're the best team in college basketball. We don't want anybody getting the big head. We want this team to think that there's a target on their back, even when there's not. And who's the best, I think, in college athletics at that? Is Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart, he makes his team feel like there's a target on their back when they're playing.
Same with Saban, how Saban was.
Saban was the same way too. And I think Coach Pope's doing a good job of that, keeping the outside noise outside. People don't think we're good. Go prove them wrong. Have a target on your back. I like that. I think that's the way to approach it, because you don't want to tell your players that, hey, we're the best in college hoops, and then you have some letdown games and you lose in the Sweet 16 or the Elite. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. So I like that. Any other thoughts on what Coach Pope had to say about the defense, Carson, before we move on to some of our other topics?
Not really. Like I said, I think that'll come with time. I'm not too worried about the defense at all.
I'm not either. I think it's going to be great. And, Coach Pope talked about how, because someone asked him, like, well, Coach, like, all your players unprovoked just talk about how good they think the defense is going to be. And, Coach Pope talked about, like, I think they might just be saying what they want to happen, but I'm not. The defense is going to be great. I think the floor for this defense is top 25 in KenPom. I think that's the floor. I think it has the upside to be top 10.
I agree with you.
You just have the athletes this year. You have the athletes to be good defensively. And that's going to be the difference. So the next topic I want to talk about, Carson, is what Coach Pope had to say about Andre Yelovich. And so before we get into this, I'm not concerned in any way or form. I want to talk about this, break it down. The only thing that I kind of thought was a little weird and I didn't love was that Coach Pope talked about, hey, his transcripts are all dealt with. And I don't fully understand. I don't think anyone understands all that goes into getting these players from, Croatia, to over here. Like, I don't know what all goes into that. But I think that, his transcript's taken care of. It sounds like, and Coach Pope, he was getting ready to say a timetable, and then he stopped himself. And I don't know, that's the only thing he did that made me a little weary, that maybe there's not a ton of that. He doesn't have enough confidence to say he'll be here by the end of August. I know there was the update from Jack Pilgrim, and congrats to him on the new kid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And, Pilgrim put out their report, and Pilgrim's one of the best in the business, man. So, I trust him that none of us are worried about it. I'm simply saying I was a little kind of when Pope didn't give a timetable. What were your thoughts on that, Carson?
Yeah, no, also, again, I think Pope is really a really smart guy, and he knows how much Kentucky basketball fans take things to heart. And so if he was going to say, oh, he'll be here by the end of August, and he's not here by the end of August, people flip out and go crazy. So, I think it was a positive update that they did receive his transcripts. I definitely think that's positive. But with the timetable stuff, you never really know what could come up. So it's hard for Pope to give an accurate timeline for when Yelovich will be on the team. But I have no doubts that he'll be suited up for game one.
I do agree with you. I'm not concerned about it at this point, but it's something we'll continue to monitor over the coming weeks. Hopefully this isn't a conversation in a month. That's the goal. Next thing I want to talk about is the conversation that Coach Pope had. I think one of the biggest jaw-dropping moments for me was when someone asked, who's going to be the backup, what's the backup point guard situation look like? And the first name that he said, the first name that he talked about was Otega. Always been running some at the one. Obviously, I don't know if Otega always going to be the backup one because he's going to be playing a lot of minutes of his own.
Yeah.
But I think it's great for late game situations that always becoming a better, obviously he can handle the ball getting to the rim, but like a better out, beyond the 3-point line ball handler.
Yeah. And passer.
Exactly. Helps that. So, but he talked about Colin, he talked about Jasper, he talked about Aberdeen. I don't think that Coach Pope has any kind of concerns about who's going to be the backup point guards behind Lowe.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I think it's great for Otega Oweh's game for Pope to let him run the one at practice, because it just makes our team better to have that option as him running the one, because we all know Mark Pope's system kind of relies around the big men dishing out the ball and that sort of thing. So I'm not really too concerned at all about the backup point guard position, because I think it's going to be a lot of coming off screens for guards and the big men kind of orchestrating the offense like it has been, because we know how good of a passer Brandon Garrison is, and Yelovich is a great passer. Jaden Quaintance is a great passer. So I think we'll be fine there at the backup.
Yeah. Oh, and quick shout out to La Familia, 1 win away from heading up to the Yum Center to take on the Ville, right?
Not.
Oh, what? They're not. What? What happened?
No, they lost to sideline cancer. We're getting destroyed for a little bit, and then came back, and they got sent packing in their own gym. So
they don't have any more games in the TBT.
No more games for them, but they did make it farther than their actual team did. So kudos to them.
They did win a game in the tournament, and now they were a 1 seed.
Something Pat Kelsey has never done.
No, but dude, Pat Kelsey wants the smoke, man. Dude, he wants the smoke, dude. I mean, the absolute smoke. Gosh. Yeah, there you go. So, La Familia still playing. The Ville, not.
Yeah, they play tonight at 6.
Little bro's going home early. Nothing new. Nothing surprising.
Eberline Drive.
But maybe if Louisville wins 24 straight, they'll have the all-time series lead against us, right?
Yeah, you know what? And I can never see that happening.
I don't think they could win 2 straight. I don't think they'll win 1 straight. But Louisville, we dislike you immensely. But there was a Louisville fan. He was crap talking Boff, and I will not stand for that.
Yeah,
not stand for that.
No. And I tried to reason with him and actually ask him his argument. And of course, like every other Louisville fan, they don't have one.
Yeah. And then now, if you want to crap talk the Tigers, you're welcome to do that, but not Boff himself. We will not stand for that. So, yes, but we wanted to make sure to make fun of the Ville because they're not playing anymore. Sucks. But
yeah, Montrezl Harrell rolled up like it was Game 7 of the finals.
Yeah, he took a private jet to lose in the TBT, man. Yikes. That's rough.
That's what their careers are about, the TBT, because God knows the NBA won't be having any of that.
No, there's no phone calls for the NBA there. No question. But so yeah, we talked about Yelovich, talked about the backup point guard, talked about the defense. Braden Hawthorne, that is a conversation that we wanted to have. I mean, Carson and I have been believers in the future plans of Hawthorne and what he will be down the road and how good he could be. But it sounds like that's getting sped up just a little bit, Carson. I mean, every report we've heard from practice, it sounds like Hawthorne is turning heads quickly.
Yeah, no, and like I thought about, like if he would have been the 45th ranked kid all year round, we'd be way more excited about him, except he had a late bloom, which actually turns out great because most late bloomers are really good in college. Plus, those videos of him playing Aberdeen one-on-one look like straight Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You got a kid at 6'10" with guard skills and can pretty much do everything, and he's only going to keep growing. So really, really excited about Hawthorne.
I mean, he puts on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, dude. Scary stuff. I mean, with the skills he has as a ball handler, as a shooter, at pull-up jump shots, it's going to be terrible.
That wingspan defensively is going to be an issue. It's going to be something to watch.
But Coach Pope, actually compared him to Tayshaun Prince, which I that's a great comparison. I I think. But I mean, do you agree with
Oh,
that, Carson?
I completely agree. A long, lengthy 3-and-D guy. It's super tall, can pretty much do everything. I love that comparison. He's not going to be Tayshaun right away, but he can work himself into that mold for sure.
But I just think what's crazy about this is we talked about a potential Adu Thiero trajectory where he maybe plays a little bit as a freshman, but then that sophomore year takes a jump. Junior year, obviously, Adu took a jump at Arkansas. But I think that perhaps that timeline is just sped up just a hair. And I think that could be the case. So Hawthorne might not be this year. But I mean, he'll see some time this year, and then I think next year he could be one of those players that we're like, watch out, this kid's going to be a stud.
100%.
I mean, an absolute star. So yeah, that from the press conference. I mean, I think that was really the bulk of it. Coach Pup was funny. His daughter was sitting in there, and he was trying to say like, like the TikTok things. He said that Jasper had a ton of positive aura. And then he talked about after the first quarter against La Familia, he was about to crash out. So he was like trying to say these. And then he was like, after it ended, he was walking away. And he was like, I tried to tell my daughter I was going to say skibbity riz something. And then I was like, if he would have pulled that out in the middle of the press conference, that'd have been really funny.
That's been hilarious.
But I mean, I think that's the bulk of the takeaways. The defense was the big thing that I think everybody took away. The quotes on Hawthorne. Trent Noah, he talked about Trent Noah being like he was the most veteran guy heading into that scrimmage against La Familia. And I'll just tell you this, and I mean, we talked about him getting the nod in that, and Trent Noah is going to be a ball player for this basketball team this year. I think that he's put on some more muscle. He's gotten stronger. It looks like he's grown a few inches height-wise. I think that
he bleeds this stuff, man. Like, this is different for him. Hometown, like, he's all about this.
And he's a guy that if we were to have someone, twist an ankle and miss 2-3 games, he can play like 3 different positions. He could like play the 2, 3, and the 4 if you really need him to. I mean, he is such a versatile player. He can play all over the floor. He can give you minutes at lots of different places.
And his best asset's probably rebounding, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, we know he can shoot the lights out. I mean, if he gets better, continues to improve as a defender to go with that rebounding and that shooting, he's going to earn more and more minutes. And we've talked about it. Trent Noah is going to be a 4-year guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, but I just think his junior and senior year, he's going to be just one of the great. Is he going to be an NBA stud? I probably wouldn't bet on that right now, but he's going to be an elite college basketball player who's going to make a lot of money on the NIL throughout his career. I mean, the trajectory for him has special Kentucky all-time star written all over it, especially 100%. When we get deeper into the junior and senior years. So that's pretty much all I've got from the press conference, Carson. Now we want to talk a little bit about the revenue sharing. So what have you heard about that? We'll talk about the percentages and we'll dig into that.
Yeah, so it looks like everyone's allotted like $20 million throughout all their programs. Yeah. And it seems like as it's released yesterday, we're putting 45% of that, which would be about $9 million, and so some change into the basketball program. And there's some backlash on that I've seen on social media because we're like, well, what are we going to do about football? We have a lot more players to pay. That's what makes the money in the SEC, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, my takeaway is I think we should keep basketball the gold standard and keep funneling money into basketball. I like the allotment right now. And until we get a new coach in football and can prove that we can win games, because, I mean, in football, you got to think, even if you get $15 million, you're still not going to have as much as Alabama, Texas, Georgia, any of these teams within the SEC to win your conference. Yeah. And you don't have the best coach. All those teams have better coaches than you. So it's for me, it's a smart play because we're going to be far and away ahead of other teams in basketball and just less behind in football. I mean, you could have gave us that money and we still would have went 4-8, like it's until there's a change at the helm in football. I don't think they'll reassess that until then.
Boff and I talked about this like an hour ago. And Boff, that you have homework. You got to leave in the comments. I wish we could have him come on here and say what he was saying to me earlier. Leave in the comments what you were telling me earlier. He disagrees a little bit.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Me too.
I agree with you, Carson. I think that the two schools that I think are great examples of what we don't want to be And now I don't know what these schools are going to do, but are the 2 Alabama SEC schools. And I'll tell you why. There are football schools that have up-and-coming basketball programs with good coaches and have had some good seasons. Final Fours for both those Alabama schools. They've been good over since, COVID, really. They've been great. Yeah. And so then the question, if you asked fans of those schools, would you like to put even money or even percentages into your basketball and football programs? Every fan of those schools is going to tell you, no, football. And my thought on that for us should be the same. I mean, our football program, it creates a lot of fun. It does create a lot of revenue. I mean, when we have a big game in Kroger Field, there are a lot of people in those stands, loud. It's a good atmosphere. But I just think these teams that are going to do their very best to put it, close to 50-50 between their two programs are going to see themselves being middle of the road in two programs. And the schools can have a okay football program and a great basketball team, or a great football team and an okay basketball program. Personally, I think all this is stupid. I do. I think this has an opportunity to damage college athletics down the road. I really do. I don't know what your take on that, Carson. I'm not talking about, this is good for the players to get paid. It's good for them to be able to help support themselves and their families. That's all great. But this stuff is just tough. It's going to take away. It's going to be really hard for programs to be good at both sports.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of moving towards like professional almost, where you got a salary cap and certain teams have certain revenue shares and certain teams make more than others. I think it's really, really going to hurt the smaller schools and the smaller conferences, because it's only going to make the big schools that much better, and they won't get any revenue sharing. So they're going to be getting scraps from everywhere else. So they won't have many good players. But I think it's crazy, but it's all becoming a business now, right? Like they talked about the entertainment district and LLCs of corporations like funneling in. Once we build certain bars and restaurants and stuff, we'll bring that money back into the school. I think it's crazy, but I also think it's a little cool too, to see the development and all of that. So we'll see. There's going to be a lot of kinks that every team has to work out with this, because it's all new to everybody. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I don't know. I tend to be the old man yelling at clouds a lot, but I miss what college sports was years and years ago. I do. I think that I love that these kids are getting money to help themselves and provide for that's great. But I just wish there was a better way to go about it. And the problem is, it just seems like one of those things where there's just no right answer. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here griping about it. I can't give you a better idea. I don't know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem like. So maybe this has been great. I'd love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about this. I don't know. I think it's weird. I think it's going to really affect. And then schools like Vandy, that they're a good baseball team. How does this affect sports like that? How does it affect the women's basketball?
It's going to be all about putting money back into the teams that bring you income, right?
Yeah.
As much as it's a topic in real sports, like the NBA and the WNBA wants to get paid like the NBA. Well, you got to start selling out stadiums. You got to start bringing in jersey sales, concessions. It all matters. So they're going to funnel the money into the sports to make the most money.
Yeah. I agree with you. And I think, but that's why I'm saying, but the problem is, Kentucky football makes pretty good money, doesn't it? It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like there's a struggle there. It's not like, we make money on these games, and because you got a big stadium and you sell a lot of seats. It's a tough.
To put it in perspective, Kentucky is one of 5 or 6 schools that actually is plus in the basketball revenue. We actually make money from basketball. Most teams lose money on basketball, and football is their main source of revenue. So it is interesting to see. And you can always move the money around. So like I said, so if you go and Stoops has a bad year, you get rid of Stoops, hire Summerall, you can always make that split different and funnel more money into football. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to work out fine. And I agree with putting the money into basketball. I mean, once again, would you rather have a really, really, really good basketball team year in and year out and a football team that is fighting and scratching and clawing, or two middle of the road teams? What would you rather have? I just would rather have a good basketball team.
I'd rather have a good basketball team. Plus, year in and year out, we always compete for championships in basketball, and football will always be behind the blue bloods of football. You know, the Alabamas, the Ohio State, the Texas. No matter how much money you can funnel in, they're still going to funnel in more. So it's going to be an uphill battle no matter what with football. But in basketball, we're by far and away better than every other school.
I mean, football, we're just at a disadvantage recruiting wise. You just don't see a lot of good recruits come out of the Bluegrass State for football.
And this state and the surrounding states don't produce the talent that the southern states produce. Exactly. Like Florida, Texas, those are football schools.
Yeah.
Or football states. And then they'll go to Florida and they'll go to Texas because they're going to be hometown kids and they're going to get paid NIL dollars to do that. And like Florida will be an interesting one too, right? They're coming off the heels of a national championship. It'll be interesting to see if they buy into football or buy into basketball. But
that's one that's interesting because they have historically been really, really good at both sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Alabama, Auburn, I got done talking about the two Alabama schools. They haven't been, I mean, they've had some good years in history in basketball, but they are a historic football team.
Yeah, Florida's consistently been the second best SEC school in basketball for generations.
Yeah, and they've done some great stuff in football. I mean, through the Tebow era, I mean, they've had some good stuff in their football. They have history in football. So,
and they got Lagway.
Yeah, I mean, I think this guy's going to be. I think
I'm bought in. It's been like a year and a half when I first gave my Lagway take when he was a true freshman. I think he's a stud.
Trey Johnson, I've been on him. I think he wins the Heisman. I think that he wins a Heisman and potentially a Natty because I think he's that good. We'll have to see what happens around him, but he wins the Heisman. I think he's number one overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, he has the tools to be a.
I don't know about the weapons around him.
That's my thing. I think they're a tad bit overrated in SEC polls just because I don't think their team is as good as people are saying. Or, I mean, they still got G5 Billy as their coach, and he has a losing record to us as the coach there. But Lagway is a super stud. So, the quarterback position is the most important position in football. So he can take them as far as he wants to.
I think he ends up having a better year than Manning. Personally, I don't think a lot of people think that's crazy. I don't think it's crazy. I think
but Texas is going to win the national championship, But Texas is going to win the national championship,
probably. But I think if you put Lagway on that team, oh my gosh, if you know what I mean, if you gave him those receivers,
and just and that defense to where you don't have to worry about,
goodness gracious, I think they walk to it. So, man, this rev share's got us way sideways talking about stuff.
Well, I mean, it's a big topic of conversation all over social media. People are fired up about it because you got the diehard football fans who are really upset about it. And I mean, I am one of those. Like, I love going to football games. There's nothing better than cracking open a cold one at like 9 a.m. for a nooner. To get there and get fired up at Kroger Field. I mean, I live for those days. So I would love to see us be good, but I just think at the moment in time, it's hard to buy into football.
That's still my favorite Stoops quote of his time here was I forget what game it was. It was like a nooner early in the year in Kroger Field. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago.
I don't know. Time's moving so fast.
But he just said, I have full confidence in the people of Kentucky to get up early and drink beer. And I'm like, hell.
Oh, I got you, coach.
I will do that for you. You want to get me to go to war for somebody, tell me to get up early and drink beer. I'll go to war for you. But yeah, so that's my take on it. I'd rather have a Elite Eight or bust every single year, Final Four or bust every year basketball team than a basketball team that is good. And we're never going to be able to. I mean, I want to get Summerall and be proved wrong about what I'm about to say, but we're just never going to be able to compete recruiting wise with some of these big time SEC schools. And then the Ohio State, Michigans of the world. We're just not. And
100%.
if that in Oregon, if that changes, I will bite my tongue. But Summerall, I think, can do more with less is the thing. That's why I want Summerall. I think we can give Pope all this money and have him win national championships and give Summerall less, and he can still win 8 games. And we can go to a bowl game every year. And maybe one year he recruits a quarterback and he's underrated and he's great, and we bump into a college football playoff. That stuff's going to happen. So I just think Summerall can be the difference maker. I really do.
I completely agree.
Smaller budget. I mean, hell, he might go to the playoff this year at Tulane.
Yeah. They got the BYU quarterback who's a stud, proven stud. So, I mean, he knows how to recruit, and he went after Nico really hard in the transfer portal. So he's swinging at the big dogs. I mean,
Summerall can do more with less. He might go to a natty this year at Tulane. I mean, he might. That's the point.
It's going to be a stretch, but he could run into a playoff for sure.
Oh, did I say natty? I meant playoff, not natty.
Yeah.
He's not going to win the natty.
Yeah,
that is not what I meant. No, I said he might make the playoff. No, that is not happening.
Andrew's drunk on a Tuesday.
Yeah, no kidding. Too many cold beers at 3 o'clock. But that's all I got on that. I mean, I think that's everything for the press conference. Let us know in the comments, though, what y'all think about the rev share. There's a lot of people split down the middle. And I mean, that's why this is a fun conversation. We've got, like you said, Carson, we have our football guys. We have our basketball people that say it should all go here. It should be 50-50. It should all go here. So let us know your thoughts, and we'll try and get like a feel for what BBN has to say about this. So any other thoughts, Carson, before we get out of here?
Oh, that's all I got. Everyone go out and support TBT tonight at 6 in Memorial. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
It's Archie's old team, so there'll be a little rivalry brewing there. So it should be an exciting one. Hopefully
we get a big win for La Familia, and we will not be seeing the Ville play. So
nope.
There you go. So root those guys on, like we said. I mean, it's just we don't even have to play them for them. I wanted to beat them ourselves.
They were all out of shape. We would have ran them off the court.
Yeah, I wanted to beat them in their place, but we're not going to get the opportunity to do that. But hey,
at least Drew Franklin won't get assaulted again.
Seriously, that was still crazy. But that's all we got. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for sticking around. Hit that like button. If you turn on that notification bell, let us know when we post. And then, if you want to listen to the press conference from yesterday, I posted it. It'd be the video, underneath of this one. So check that out as well. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you next time right here on the Wildcats Today podcast.